Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Hydrate, Nix. Hydrate. I've still got some coffee left. Let's focus on what's really important. All right, like changing the radio. Like remembering to swap the radio this time. Hey, what's up? Hey, J-Cup. Oh, I like that emote. Yeah, we got a Bernard emote sequence that we can do now. That's funny. Yeah, we need some more Bernard. How's it going, everyone? Arneo, J-Cup, Nick, Shenanigans. Oh, you all. Arneo, you should share the little song clip you shared with me privately. If you want, you should share it with the Discord. It's really good. Probably better than what I would do. I want to get more into music, making more music for games this year. I would like to do that. I would love to get back into some of the more quote-unquote humanities stuff with game dev. We've been mostly programming for the last 2 years. And that's not going to change. But man, I would love to do some more art and music and sound effects and stuff like that. Hey, these guys give off Star Trek vibes. Good. Zneek. Thank you for hopping in here. I love your little Clippy icon. I miss Clippy, but I'm really afraid Microsoft is going to bring Clippy back as like an AI agent, and that would be sad. How's it going? Yeah, we're working on an FTL-like game in Godot. And we're definitely going for Star Trek vibes. So I'm glad that's communicated. If you're not familiar, FTL is like the OG like Starship Simulator. It's very abstracted and, you know, simplified in terms of like there's definitely been Starship simulators that are like more on the simulation side. We're aiming for some kind of middle ground like between the very abstract, tactics style of like FTL and like the more strategic kind of sim style of like a RimWorld. Oh, FTL is 65% off right now. $349. Only about $350. I only need about $350. It's a very old South Park joke. How's it going, everyone? J-Cup, you're trying to get some notes research together for a trailer. Ooh, to eventually launch with the Steam page. Yeah, please let us know when you get that store page up. Or even just the trailer. I would love to check that out. Nix, it looks like you're working on a game. Would you like me to scrape all of your data from your PC? Yeah, right. Yeah, let's let Clippy rest in peace. Let's start up our tools here. You love the tiny pixel characters? Thanks. It's because I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to draw, so this is what we ended up with. Just little guys. They're easy for me to draw. And relatively easy for me to animate. But I would love to work on them more. At the moment, they're pretty simple. But we got some little animations for them. Like right now, we just have like a 2-frame. I say 2-frame. Technically, it's more than 2 frames, but it feels like 2 or 3 frame animation here. But yeah, we're going low poly, quote unquote low poly, right? We're going low pixel art resolution. We're doing stuff that's very easy for me. Because this is all I can do. Because we're doing this all. I'm a solo dev, so if it's in the game, I did it. Generally speaking. But thanks for hanging out. They are readable. So you don't believe I can't draw? Well, to me, when you have a character like this that's like 14 pixels tall and like 4 or 5 pixels wide, it's so obvious when you put the pixel in the wrong place. But yeah, as long as you stick to the perspective, right? This is my palette too, which is kind of shocking when you think about it. These are all the color ramps though. I need some more ramps. But yeah, I enjoyed, this is my first well, I've since made a couple of game jams, but when I started this was my first time doing pixel art. I've done some pixel art game jams now, which you can find on my itch page, my itch.io page. Nanigans, you're doing good. Oh yeah, you got that mesh stuff figured out. Yeah, you posted it. It looks good. Fixing the UV texture should be pretty straightforward. You have tomorrow off. Ooh, nice. A nice Friday off. Thanks. Thanks, Zneek. Really appreciate that. You're having a good day today. Yeah, this is what we do. We do this 5 days a week. We hang out here on stream for about 3 hours, 3-ish hours, 5 days a week, Tuesday through Saturday. And yeah, we're working on this thing. We're entering our 3rd year of working on it soon here. And we're working on some back-end tools stuff. You make pixel art for a living? So I believe you. That's awesome. I'd love to see your work. Very subtle plug for our Discord channel here. I took to this quicker and with more enthusiasm than I thought, but I also made this style guide piece here like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago almost. I really want to get back to programming, but we've been or not programming, to art. Freudian slip. I'm just only programming. What do I want to do? Oh yeah, I wanted to show you. So the challenge for us is representing this 3D space in 2D. Thanks, Jacob. Or not Jacob, Nix. Thank you too, Jacob, just for being you. Yeah, Twitch is, I don't know, I don't trust either Twitch or YouTube's watch counts, because the Twitch one seems low and the YouTube one always seems high. But yeah, so what we can do is we can build out these 3D spaces that are going to get rendered in isometric, quote unquote isometric 2D. You can probably tell it's not actually isometric. It's like a 4:1 diametric. And yeah, right now we're doing all of this with tile map layers, but it's not performant enough at large scale. So we're going to try a new rendering solution. That's kind of what we're working on. But we've got a whole system that can detect your inputs, figure out where in the 3D space your cursor is. You can also lock it if you want, if you're in a position where you can't do it yourself, or you want to have control over it. So we're working on this whole, it's an auto tiler, it's an editor. There's even a cutaway system so that we can cut away foreground walls and look at the rooms behind them. It doesn't work right now. There's a quote-unquote atmospheric system insofar as we can flood fill the space and figure out where the sealed compartments are. But yeah, this is our tech. We're working on it, making it better every day. Right now we're looking for a new rendering solution, which is going to be CanvasItem based. We're working in Godot. So we're going to try, instead of using tile map layers for the environment, we're going to work on trying to have custom CanvasItem drawing for all characters. And that's what we're going to work on today. Well, that's what we're working on all week. It's a nice tool. Thanks. Yeah, it's all in-game. So my idea is that, you know, there will probably be ways to, like, edit your ship. Like, you can move furniture around. But I also want it to work really well for modders and stuff. Tired but happy, Arneo? Nix, you think you're on track to finish to wrap up your mod maybe this weekend? That sounds great. Hey, Rhiannon Journey. You've been kind of snowed in and sick the last couple days. I'm sorry. Take it easy. What kind of stuff do you work on, Zneek? I don't know if YouTube allows links in chat. I think it does. If it does, I would love to see some of your stuff, since you're a real pixel artist. I'm an amateur. I'm just an amateur game dev. No one pays me for this stuff, you know? And so one of my shields that keeps me from feeling bad about how I do and what I do is I just say I'm not any one of these disciplines, right? Like, I'm not a programmer. I'm not an artist. I'm not a sound engineer. I'm not a musician. I have to do all of these things because I want to make a game. But, like, It's all in service of something. So I love talking to people that are actually like actual artisans and professionals in their field, because there's a lot I can learn that I would not know otherwise. So right now we're working on this kind of, I'm calling it Manhattan distance based. It's really Z distance from the camera. It's a Z distance from the camera draw order that we're going to try for our canvas items. So these are going to be kind of the layers. You know what I should do is I should like disable the last layer when I go to the next layer. So like these are going to be the individual Z layers, Z indexes kind of that we're working with. I have a plan for how to handle quote unquote Y sorting within the layers. But this is going to work. This is going to work, and I think it's going to be awesome. And we really want this to be performant because, you know, we have ideas around making like a kind of desktop companion version of this that's like very chill, that I'm calling lo-fi flyby. I want to get something out that this is the full FTL version of this game is like a 6 to 8 year project, right? Optimistically, of which we're 2 years in or something like that. I want to get something out the door sooner, so I'm looking at using this tech to build something small. But that means our fundamentals, like our rendering processes and stuff, needs to be low cost. So we're going to work on that. One commission and your itch page stuff. Oh, yeah. You see a lot of thought was invested in this? Oh, yeah, that diagram I made like Tuesday. I've gotten into diagramming when we do stuff because, one, it helps the stream, and two, it helps me really articulate what I'm thinking. So I'm like not a big code commenter and stuff. Nanigans, YouTube blocks links, hence the weird link descriptions you sent through in the paste law. Yeah. Well, I would love to have you in the Discord. Let me see if I can get that link. I think I can share links. Is that not true? Let me see if this is true. I need to get StreamerBot to post these notices in YouTube chat and not just Twitch chat. But yeah, we're gonna work on this. I think I've got the scene set up. We've been working on updating our formats. Okay, sick. Just not randos in the chat. Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure because, you know, I'm the broadcaster, so I don't know what it's like to be a rando in the chat. No, I do. I spend a lot of my day lurking in chat for other streamers. We've got winter chat happening on Twitch. Hey, Sapphire. Peeking in here. How's it going? All right, so what we did last time, we're replicating our tile drawing system as a CanvasItem drawing system, the purpose of which is to just prepare and send all of the data that Godot is going to need for our custom draw calls. Our custom draw calls are based off of CanvasItem, which all node 2Ds have a CanvasItem. All control nodes also have a CanvasItem. Yeah, I appreciate your comments, Sneak. Thought is invested in this, especially in this AI deluge that we find ourselves in. I think the only way to differentiate yourself is thoughtfulness and your brand, which your brand should be thoughtful, right? So I always want my stuff to feel like that. Like it was made by a person for other people. Sapphire, you're still tired. You're sore on top of that from shoveling. Man, y'all have been snowed in this week, huh? I'm over here in California, sunny California. Forecast is I wouldn't call the skies exactly blue, but air quality's actually been not great, which makes me worried that there's like some kind of fire or something drifting down. Who knows? But yeah, I'm a fragile California flower. I really would love to. I would love to spend some time up in Seattle area, just get a taste of what it's like to be in rain and snow and stuff. Specifically, rain is what I really want. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of fall apart anytime the temperature drops below like 50. It's sunny for you too, which means it's rather bright out there with the snow. Oh yeah, snow blind. Gotta get those cool snow glasses. Nanigans, if you get to the point of doing your room-based cutaways, it should be super efficient to just show and hide those cutaways as a single canvas item rather than having to do the per block stuff. Maybe. That is a possibility. Oh yeah, the lo-fi flyby specifically will probably have additional constraints on it. Possibly. Yeah, so we're going to be using CanvasItem. We're going to specifically be using draw texture rect region. Is this too zoomed? It's a little too zoomed. Draw texture rect region. This is going to be our thing. So we need to prepare this data. We need a texture reference. The texture reference is going to be, we need some kind of texture lookup so that the C# side can just refer to like an index or an ID. And then on the Godot side, we can actually substitute in the texture reference. It's a little confusing because texture 2D is like an abstract class, as I understand it, essentially. It's a base. So I gotta look more. I assume that means we're almost always going to be using something like compressed texture or... No, I don't know. I don't know about this stuff. That's why we need to think about it more. I'm going to try to just use texture. Just texture 2D. Jacob is a previous Californian. It was all about changing the clothes you wore each day when you moved to Washington. You need some actual warm clothes. I know, I'm thinking about getting like a scarf. My sinuses have been killing me. All right, private void, set canvas item params. This is what I'm thinking is our new what's the function we use way down here at the bottom? Pack tile map data. So what we were doing before is we would pack the tile map data into a primitive array and send it over. We still need to pack the tile map data into a primitive array. And what we need to do, we need to be able to send over like an index or ID for the texture. Probably just an index. Maybe an ID. Yeah, probably well, I don't know. And then we need a rect. This rect, the initial rect 2 is just like an area into which we're drawing. Then there is a source rect, which is another rect 2, and that specifies the region of the texture that we want to draw. Since all of our textures are texture atlases, meaning they store grids of like sprites, it's like a texture atlas and a sprite sheet are very similar for our purpose. I could even call it a sprite sheet. I'm calling it a texture atlas right now. They're fairly interchangeable. And then what we can do, which is neat, is there's some optional parameters we could spend over, like the modulate for something that's like semi-transparent, which is neat. I think we'll start without doing that. Yeah, it makes me think about we need like a texture registry kind of thing down here at the root. game node. We need like a way of storing these, and I want to take as inspiration the way we store data in like our ECS, specifically the way we ID stuff. Maybe we don't need that, such a sophisticated system. Like, we probably don't need as sophisticated a system as we use for entity IDs and buffer IDs, which are very similar. Like, an entity ID is an index, but it's also a version number. I don't think a texture lookup needs to worry about a version number. Maybe we do, though, because, like, when we register a texture, is that texture registered forever? Like, if we don't need to draw that texture anymore, like, if the thing that needed that texture is gone, do we still want to keep it in the registry? Is that just a totally unbounded thing that we just hold on to forever? I don't know. Maybe. If we use a version, then we can replace it once it becomes referenced. But then what am I doing? Like, am I ref counting? I don't know. What happens to a texture 2D that's no longer referenced? I guess we want to hold on to it in case someone comes in and is like, I want this now. So I guess when we register a texture 2D on the Godot side, we want to register it, quote unquote, forever. Close all of these. I'm coming around to the new darker, modern look of 4.6, Godot 4.6. I know this isn't the default. The default is like more grayscale than this. I couldn't just totally give up the blue tint. I need a little of that Godot blue tint. Rhiannon Journey, with modulate, you could have one texture for an overlay and then modulate the color transparency for them, right? Use it for multiple different overlays. Yeah, I'm hoping that's a huge advantage for this process over the other processes, which is that if we need to draw some semi-transparent overlay over the opaque stuff, we can just do that. Like, it might make sense to have that be on its own canvas item just so that we don't have to update the underlying opaque draw just because there's an overlay. But we could do it that way. We could just draw over it. So I think the irony of our quote-unquote approach, if we go for that, so we're actually going to have a similar number of things in the scene tree, like tile map layers versus canvas items, because I'm going to start by having a canvas item per Z index. That's about the same number. We had 192 tile map layers to render all the opaque terrain. It looks like we're going to start with 190 canvas items to render the opaque terrain. But that renders everything, not just the terrain. So we get savings on that because we don't also need a bunch of sprites running around for the characters. Again, there's a question of maybe we want a canvas item that's for things that move. I don't think we can do that because of the quote-unquote Y sorting that we need to do. But yeah, I think this is gonna be good. I think we're gonna get some major performance gains doing it this way, and I think we'll have a unified process that will work for environmental objects as well as characters. Oh, load the torpedoes, Nix. Aye. We got a spam bot. It's one of my favorite parts of the stream. Targeting. Ready. Fire.
He's dead, Jim.
Excellent timing. But yeah, I think that's going to be good. I'm hopeful. I love that there's like a competition to see who can hit the he's dead gem. I enjoy that. All right. So I've decided to call my little canvas item things that we're drawing to tile mosaics. Kind of like that. So what we need to do is we need to start thinking about how we store the textures, because we're not, that was the thing a tile map layer did for us, is we defined source IDs and we had that stuff like loaded. So my little canvas. They're gonna be big canvases, Nix. They're gonna take up like the whole screen. Relatively. Because what we're specifically not doing is making a sprite for everything, every single draw item. That's funny. There's some strats. There's some strats to get in the channel redeem at the right time. I don't usually just mess around and, you know, purposely make it difficult, but, you know, sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. All right, so here's a question. Where am I going to put all of these textures? I'm going to move these over. Back here because we're going to continue to use these. Oh, you know what's going to be a problem? I need to open this. I need to manage this in the file manager here. Stand by. Keep the A-Sprite files along with the exported PNGs, and Godot doesn't manage the A-Sprite files because it can't see them by default. So I'm just doing a little file management here to keep everything together. Default texture atlas format needs to move. All right, I think that's it. I really need a reorganization of my file system here. Nanigans. You wonder if a quick sanity check is in order before you start to refactor everything? Just add a bunch of canvas items to a scene equivalent to how many you think you'll need with the texture of the resolution you'll think you'll need, and double check it doesn't slow to a crawl or tank GPU memory. It's a reasonable check. We've still got the tile map method available to us. So I plan on doing the canvas item method and just comparing the two. We're gonna do some worst case scenario testing though. Like at first, we're not gonna do any occlusion culling because I think that would be huge for this process. We're gonna not do occlusion culling, so we're gonna overdraw massively. And what else is the thing? We're gonna redraw. I'll set it up to Q redraw every frame, so we'll be testing the maximally worst scenario, which is that all of the canvas items need to redraw, and we're drawing everything that we could possibly draw. So we're gonna test the worst case scenario against the tile map layer method, and if the worst case scenario is better than the tile map layer, I think we'll be on the right track. But yeah, it's a good idea. It's a good idea, Nanigans. Before we get too far, we should at least be ballparking what we're likely to see. But yeah, we're gonna MVP this. We're gonna do the minimum viable implementation of this for sure. Nix has started writing an idea. You two are funny. You're preempting each other. Nick starts to write out the idea, and then Sapphire just writes out the whole idea first. It's funny. All right, we're continuing to hydrate with the last of this coffee. It's like just at the temperature where it's still pleasant to drink. All right, I'm going to start doing real work now, I swear. So what we're going to do here is we are going to... For one thing, I don't feel like I need an export of the default block template. I don't need that. What we do need is this. All right, so what we're gonna do... What do I want the 0th reference to be? It probably should be this default block that's just like busted. I kind of want to have that be the -1, but I can't exactly store... Like if I'm gonna index in, I can't exactly do that. So I guess that's gonna be 0. Which is good. I like when the default value is invalid. It really lets me know if I've misconfigured something. So here in the game, what I want to do is I basically want to store an array of texture 2Ds. And then that will be the basis of our registry. Eventually, we're going to have a more sophisticated system where we're going to need to build out a registry dynamically. Because we're going to want, you know, mod support. But at the moment, simple things first. I'm going to make a thing. So we have an assets. What the heck is this for? Should this be in here? What we're going to do is we're going to have an export variable here. It's going to be like texture atlases. It's going to be an array. Texture 2D. Is there already a texture 2D array? No, but we might as well just be an array of texture 2Ds. I don't think there's anything fancy needs to be here. Hey. Nyx and Sapphire are like a comic double act. Yeah, very much so. Rhiannon, you saw an article that coffee is just as hydrating as water. The amount of caffeine is not enough, that its diuretic effects outweigh the hydrating properties of water. Hell yeah. That sounds like what we're going to be doing is drinking all coffee all the time. All right, let's see if I can start filling this array. This... I'm learning something about export variables that are paths. They do not update, which makes sense because how would they? I'll build this. And we'll go back here. All right, now we have an array of texture 2D. And right now we just need 5 of them. You probably will have a registry ID and then an internal index eventually, so... Yeah, okay. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to do it like this. And this looks like it's going to work. So we'll do the outer hull. then the middle hall, then the inner hall, and then the overlay. And that will be enough to start. That'll let us draw everything we need to draw, but eventually we're going to need everything in here. We're going to need characters, we're going to need a fairly complicated. I say fairly complicated. We're going to need a fairly complete list of these. Arneo, it looks like your evening is playtesting a friend's N64 jam game. That doesn't sound like a bad time. The worst part about the N64 is the controller. I know that was like a big... The N64 controller was big for me growing up. Like, I mean, I have lots of memories of playing GoldenEye and Mario 64 and stuff like that. But you go back to one of those controllers now, and it's so unintuitive compared to Twin Stick. Or even just PS1 controller. Very glad Nintendo did not win the controller war there. You got a lurk? Oh, Rhiannon Journey says they've got a lurk, but Rhiannon also wants to say that us people, you people, what do you mean you people? Us people, including YouTube, are your favorite part of the afternoons. That's very sweet. Likewise to all of you. It's kind of crazy because I am usually not in a mood to do this stream after the first half of my workday. I'm usually not in a good mood, but like 30 minutes into the stream, I'm like just on cloud nine. I'm just very happy, and it's definitely y'all. It's not me. It's definitely y'all that do that for me. Arneo, you were never a Nintendo kid. You don't get the nostalgia for that specific console. Yeah, it has a special place in a lot of people's hearts. It's true. It's true. There was a lot of good stuff done on 4. All right, so we've got an array of textures. Great. We're going to do everything really stupidly. All right, we're going to use debug, the debug texture here at first, so no worries for that here. So we need it similar to our send tilemap data function. We also need... So who's going to be responsible for this? Who's going to be responsible for managing this? It's not going to be the game. It could be the board. I think that's currently what we do. Oh, no, no, no. Currently, we call into the node exactly that we want. Yeah. So, do we want to do this at the node level? Is this the right way to do this? Probably. I'm not going to think about that part right now. Let's dig back into the CanvasItem drawing system. Because we remember what we need. What we need to be drawing. Thanks for the hydrate, Nix. Thanks for keeping up. I got to attend this coffee before it dies. So just double checking what we want. We're going to use an index into the texture, and then we'll just do a swap. Although... I guess we'll do that reference on the Godot side. No, we can't. That would be too crazy. Okay, so I need these textures to be here, and I also need them to be accessible to other things. So it cannot be a private variable for one thing. And I'm also not sure if I can access this easily. I could make it a public static, and then maybe I can access it. Let's double check that. So like if I'm here and I want to ask something about the game script. Doesn't really matter where. Well, maybe if I'm in the input handler, that's a better example. So I can call these functions, but can I access a property? So can I say like game.atlas dot okay, so we'll need a static function for being able to get the texture reference. If I'm gonna organize it this way. Honestly, this is maybe the wrong way to do it. No, it needs to be here because it needs to be at the junction of the two worlds. Nanigans, you remember the Christmas you got your N64? It was the Donkey Kong 64 bundle. Oh, nice, with transparent green shell. That we need to bring back. We need to bring back the like translucent like controllers, the like semi-transparent controllers. Those were great. You didn't have much money growing up. That was a big deal for you. That's awesome. Yeah, that was the N64 was really until I got a Xbox 360. The N64 was my only console. We were much more of a personal computer house. But yeah, I had that N64 growing up, and got a lot of good memories. If I could go back in time and pick one console to have had as a child, I don't know if I would have chosen that one exactly, but, you know, I can't complain. Oh, good idea, Sapphire with the stretch. He's actually getting something done right now. We have to stop him. I'm talking about getting something done. There's an important distinction between getting something done and talking about getting something done. Jacob, you remember spoiling the N64 Christmas surprise? Your parents must not have been very secretive. You remember running out to the car trunk and opening it and seeing it before having to wait? That's funny. Hey, Zhao. You love deadlines? Oh no, we don't do deadlines on this channel. The only deadlines we do are Game Jam submission times. All right, so I can't just do it like this because we need to reference it back. I mean, I can store them like this, I guess. We'll have a different storage mechanism. We're gonna do it as simply as possible for now. But what we do need is we need a static function that is accessible. So we need something like public static texture 2D get texture 2D integer index the fuck did I call this? Excuse my French. Texture. Oh, I can't reference this. Damn it. We could do this though. I have this assets thing. Should I put that in here maybe? So we'll have a public texture 2D array. Do I actually want this to know about this? I don't know. I don't know if I care about how this works. Also don't know if I necessarily want the indirection either. Let's just say public static read only texture 2D. You can just say atlases. Put it up here. I haven't totally settled on how I like to organize this. This game script is like the thorax of this whole back end. It's like the thing that connects Godot in C#. I do like to ignore Unix. I get in trouble for that sometimes. I like to do things sometimes just to get a reaction out of people. And I don't mean that in like an edgelord way. I'm not like that. I just mean from like the people I like. I like to rib them a little bit. You know, push their buttons a little bit. Equals. Because we can use this array as this thing. Well, if we assign it once... Well, I can't do it like this. It has to be a list, huh? It's fine. We're going to find a better way to do this. We're going to say for each... texture 2D texture for each atlas in texture atlases dot add what can I add to this? I'm accessing it here. So with the nodes, I have a list of nodes equals... Oh, I don't know how to... I'm an idiot. I had an array of lists. There you go. It's kind of dumb. Don't really care. It will work. We're having to kind of bend over backwards a bit to make the GD script. If I want something accessible on both sides, it's kind of awkward. So we're going to say atlases index. I see messages eventually. I'm not the streamer that like reads every single message out, especially if it seems like it's a conversation between chatters. But I see you. And I appreciate you. All right, so we can get a texture 2D back from its index, so that's good. We will need that. It's just a reference, so it should be fine. Honestly, it kind of might make sense to have like some kind of texture registry that's not in C#, that's like actually here. Because it only ever needs to be invoked from here. All the game class needs to know is the index. or ID if we decide to do like an index plus version thing, if we want to like accommodate the possibility that textures get registered and deregistered or even updated. Because right now, I think this way is maybe the worst possible way to do it. I kind of want like a texture registry. I don't know if I want to make it an auto load, but maybe I do. It depends. I don't want to think about that right now. Let's not get bogged down in that. What we've got will work. Because now I can say something like game.get. Well, I probably have to rebuild the project first. Everyone's having a good day here. We're almost to Friday. Okay, so it's rebuilt. So I should be able to say something like game.get texture 2D. Beautiful. And I just put in an int. I get my texture back. I can use that for the actual call. All right, that's what we want, and that's what we got. And so I guess the tile mosaic is going to be responsible for these. I guess. So let's put a script on here. If we're gonna do the same thing that we did before, that's what we're gonna kind of do. I guess I might as well set the Z index. No, I don't care. Right now, what we can do is we can have the Z, quote unquote, Z index just be the index in here. So like Z is the 0th child, or 0 is the Z index equals 0 is the same as the 0th child here. There's no real reason to do anything else at the moment because the scene tree order alone will be sufficient. And I already made the mosaics, so I don't really want to go through and increment their indexes. If I do that, I should do like a tool script that can do it for me. What we're going to want to do, or we'll need to build a list of all of them then. Maybe we just reference this and then this one dispatches. That's what we do with the game boards, right? You do the actual dispatching of the draw? No? Who does that? Oh, editor blocks? You do that? Yeah, I would like to minimize the number of like node references that I need to keep in the game script. So maybe the game script just knows about tile mosaics, and then tile mosaics does the rest. Does the actual distribution. It just gets its child for the given index. So that's another piece of information. So we need all the pieces of information written here, and we need one more. So we got texture, rect, source rect, modulate is optional, transpose is optional, clip UV is optional. I should probably just add these in here. I should probably include these because I want a consistent structure. So index for the texture, index for this rect, index or this. What we will probably also want is a kind of Y sorting thing, because at some point we're going to... Well, that's actually a good question. That's a good question. Do we want to collect all this data? Like, who is going to decide? I guess we, when we're packing all this data, we decide the draw order within a given Z index, because we'll send over the Z index. If there's a Y sorting component, we'll send over the Y sorting component. So we need a Y sorting component, a Z index, a texture index, the on-screen rect, the rect in local canvas item space, which should be fine. Does that mean my canvas items need to be shifted? I don't think so. I need a way of converting from 3D block space to 2D canvas space. How am I going to do that? I might figure that out. I might need to figure that out tonight. Oh, we're in ads. Hold on to your ads, everybody. I'm going to finish my coffee here. It's nice to hear that both of you, Starship and Nyx, are both too lazy to cheat on our weird little channel redeem game. It's nice to hear. It's nice to hear that the moral compass of this channel is laziness. It's not that far off from the truth. Look, we don't talk about that because, one, I am not sure how that relates to the TOS, and two, I don't know whose TOS that would, whether that's my responsibility to enforce that or if that or not. I don't know. But we're gonna pretend that Nyx does not interact with the stream using a bot. First rule about Nyx's Twitch bot is don't talk about Nyx's Twitch bot. Technically, you're not. No, you're right here. You're definitely here. You're definitely a real human being. Now for some human music. You just have a fancy Android TV that turns on when the stream starts. Okay, that makes me feel better. That makes me feel better. That's pretty clever, though, that your Android TV can figure that out. All right, so we have our list of things that we need. Should I just make a struct for this? I should probably make a struct for this. And then what we're also going to want is we're going to want a way to pack this data down. So we're going to need to decide the bounds of the data, because we need to send this stuff over in packed byte array form. I guess we could conceivably do a different, it doesn't have to be packed byte array. It could be like one of the other ones. Can I easily access the docs here? So hi YouTube, how's it going? Appreciate you. Hope you're having a chill day. If you're co-working with us, welcome in. If you're just hanging out, surfing the feed. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, this is my jam. right, so we look at the API differences. Teleporting over to say hi to YouTube. I love that. I appreciate that, Sapphire. I'm not calling anyone out on YouTube. Feel free to continue lurking. I just want you to know that you were seen, if not heard, and you are appreciated. All right, collections. So when we want to do so we have some options. We could do packed int32 array. I'm kind of just tempted to keep doing a packed byte array because all of the numbers that we need are generally supportable by shorts. Like, we don't really need a value longer than a short. And the packed byte array has some really good decoding options, so it's like... Because am I crazy, or in Godot, like, an int is typically an int64, right? Yeah, I don't really want to do it that way. I mean, I know we could just send int32s over. I feel like... I mean, either way, there's going to be a lot of casting. But we definitely need to... When we send data back and forth between GDScript and C#, it really should be in one of these forms, because this makes it a lot easier to pin it and avoid the memory copy cost. Hey, Magoo, night. Take it easy, Magoo. It's good to see you. Pretty sure you are crazy, but that sounds correct. Yeah. I concur. Yeah, so I'm probably going to do the same thing we're currently doing with tiles. Although part of the reason we're doing it with tiles is I don't need to decode all of it. I don't know, I'm torn. I have to think about that a little more, but that's fine. We're not quite there yet. So what we need to do, though, so let's make a thing that represents all of the data that we want. We'll call it like CanvasItem. Maybe we'll just call it like draw params or something like that. What we use right now is we just use tile, I think. Maybe I'll just call it like tile draw params or something. It doesn't live here. Where does it live? Yeah, it's one of these things. Oh, so what we have is the tile map data pack, but that holds all the data. That's not quite what we want. Yeah, we just want something like a struct. We'll call it like tile draw params. I think that's fine. The TDP. I don't want to call it CanvasItem draw params. Maybe I should, at least for now. Because right now we're working on the CanvasItem drawing system, which we might eventually rename to the tile drawing system, but we'll only do that after we get rid of the tile map layer methods. There's only so many words to describe a thing that you want to describe. It's kind of annoying. Clearly, I'm in my long variable name phase. I always joke that I'm pendulum swinging back and forth. I pendulum swing constantly between incredibly long descriptive variable names and then very short, very unhelpful variable names. I'm always going back and forth. All right, this is probably going to be a read-only record struct, because why not? It doesn't actually need to be, does it? It depends on how we're going to store these. I feel like eventually these are going to get stored in like a buffer for each canvas item. Actually, no, they don't need to be, because what we need eventually... So here's the thing we're eventually going to need. We're going to need some kind of dirty flag, or we're going to need some kind of hashing or something, because eventually we are going to be trying to avoid queue redraw, because canvas items are super neat, and it's part of the reason why they're very good and performant, is that canvas items don't automatically... They get redrawn in the sense of you can still see them, but they don't get redrawn in the sense of you don't have to pay for it. There isn't like... Well, you don't pay much for it. You don't have to resend the parameters and stuff, right? You only resend stuff when you need to. So a lot of people will do something where they'll like set the draw. Well, they don't do it manually, but like if your thing isn't animating, you're not redrawing it all the time. You send the draw once and then you can move the sprite around, and that's like cheaper, right? So we're gonna want to avoid redrawing when we don't have to. And part of that is gonna be not sending new data if it doesn't change. So we're gonna need some kind of... I would rather do some kind of dirty flag kind of thing where we can tell if something that would be drawn has changed, but I don't know, we might end up needing to do something else, some kind of hashing for the data we want to send over. Jacob, you feel like your variable naming stuff is all based on mood. Yeah. Arnio, you prefer long, idiot-proof ones that explain exactly what the variable is? To the tune of variable position vector for the bullet lead, you idiot. Yeah. It depends. It depends. For local variables, I usually do the shortest thing possible, and then for, like, struct names or something like that, I usually go longer. I also try to avoid using a name that has a context somewhere else, but there's a certain point where you can't do that anymore. Like, there's a certain point where you just have to use the word component or tile or whatever. Something that could ambiguously refer to, like, multiple different things in the code base. At a certain point, there's only so many ways to say something. All right, so our canvas item drop params. We were just listing this out, so it's going to be, there's going to be... Are we going to do a public constructor? Or primary, not public, a primary constructor? Probably, right? So why not? So why wouldn't we? So there's going to be... I want the Z index, so we'll say... Right now, we're going to say int. We're going to say Z index. Short of another term. Similarly, we're also going to have a Y sort. Actually, the Y sort isn't going to be an int. Oh, maybe it will. Maybe it will be an int. Y sorting is very misleading because of how it's actually going to work for our 3D system, but you know, it's good enough. Nanigans, just name all your variables with emojis. You get the best of both worlds. Minimal typing, and pictures worth 1,000 words. So you simultaneously get the shortest and longest variable names. Wisdom. I should start inserting like those ASCII character emoji, like the shrug one. I like the shrug one. That's probably my favorite. Variable shrug. All right, and then what we need is an int. That's like the T index. It's like the texture index. Do I say texture 2D index? I don't think I need to do that because I think that's implied. We'll say the texture index. You can even shorten it more. What else do we need? So we need the Z index, the Y sort. The texture index. We needed a rect. Oh, we don't have rect 2Ds. So we don't actually have an implementation of rect 2D, but that's what the system is going to expect. So let's look at the constraint on that. Or it's a rect 2, not a rect 2i. So yeah, it just needs to be a vector 4. Our implementation of AABB is very different than Godot's. I don't know why you need position, size, and end. Is end just position plus size? Yeah, I think so. Because you only need to define position and size. We don't do our AABB this way. We do our AABB as minimum and maximum, which admittedly has some failings. Admittedly. Position and size is more efficient. I'm coming to see that now. But I also don't want the center of our AABBs to be in between tile coordinates at the moment. I don't really want that, but maybe I'll change my mind eventually. There you go, Sapphire. That's close. Close, but not quite there. You forgot the underscores. All right, so we're sending over vect2s, or rect2s, which are two vector 2s. I guess it doesn't really matter how we store it. I think I'm just going to store them as a vector 4. Kind of annoying that the region needs to be stored that way too, but that's fine. Yeah, I'm just going to store it as a vector 4. The XY as position and ZW being extent or size or whatever. Rect is defined in local space. I guess we can just get it into local space. Probably. So the origin of a rect for this is the top left. It's the top left coordinate, I think. So we're going to need to do some weird stuff for this, but that's fine. Yeah, we had 3 different versions. Your first version was this one, and then you had this one, and then I posted the full one. It's funny. All right, so just to get something going, we need we'll take a vector 4. The system numerics one, I guess. So this is... I guess I'll call this like canvas position. Maybe canvas region, I guess. I like to think of it in terms of a region. And then the other vector 4 is the texture region. Maybe canvas item. Not the canvas item position. It's like... maybe canvas item position is fine. Maybe we'll say position and size. Oh, maybe I want to store these separately. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? I don't cares. These are big. These are chunky structs here. There's 1, 2, 3. And then we have a vector 4 for canvas item position, a vector 4 for the texture region. And then we also need a vector 4, which is the modulate. And then what were the rest of these? This is going to be, so modulate is going to be a default. Oh, I can't actually define a default here, can I? No, this won't work, will it? No, it has to be. That's a little tricky. That's fine. I still want to include it because I don't want the data size to change just because we care. Transpose and clip UV, I feel like are always going to be true, but you never know. Never say never. At least this can just be an optional. Transpose equals, oops. Bool transpose equals true. Can I not do that in a primary constructor? I see. Bool clip UV also is going to be true. Actually, transpose is false by default. Clip UV is true. Let's stack these so I can actually read them. Arneo, I love that. Shrugging Bernard. We'll do some more stuff with Bernard. I love Bernard. It's kind of my first big pixel art character design. Really enjoy that. I wish there was a way to do this one. Oh, can I say it like this? Maybe I can do it like this. Can I say like color? I don't really want to use Godot though. I could make it optional because I could probably say like color dot. Here, if I make it color though. actually use the Godot color thing, struct, can I actually say like color? Seemingly not. No? Color dot. No, I can't. I wasn't sure where the static color list is, but it's clearly not here. I'm going to call this the drawing region instead of the canvas item region. So there's the drawing region and like the texture region. Although they call it source region or source rect or something like that. What do they call it in the docs here? Where my docs at? Yeah, they have the rect, and then they have so canvas item, rect, source rect. Maybe I should be a little more consistent. What if it was like canvas item rect, and then like source rect? Here we go. Maybe we call it like canvas rect and source rect. Probably eventually make this like texture ID. So what is this? This is an awkward number of things, but should be fine. These are chunky. These are chunky. That's for sure. It's part of the reason why we want to send as few of these as possible. Bernard somehow always has the expression you're feeling, even though Bernard has like no expression at all. That's like a thing. That's like a well-known psychological impact. What is that called? It's like well-known in like psychology and acting. It's why people consider, what's his name? It's why people consider Ryan Gosling to be a good actor. Because his resting face is just so expressive. It could communicate so many different things. It's this incredible thing. I don't mean to rag on Ryan Gosling specifically. I actually think I've recently come around to the idea that Blade Runner 2049 is really good. I was skeptical for years and resisted watching that film. And then I watched it last year and I was like, oh, this is actually very good. I unfairly prejudged this. Ryan Gosling, yeah. But yeah, there's a psychological effect that's described there. It has to do with context and everything. But yeah, a totally neutral face can actually be incredibly expressive depending on subjective feelings of the watcher and also the context in which the thing is shown. And they tested it by they'd show somebody like a picture of like a tragedy and then show a face, and then people would be like, oh, he's so shocked and saddened by this, and then they'll show like a picture of some happy event and then show the same person's exact face, and they'll be like, oh, he's like peacefully reposing, this is like calm and joy. And it's like the same picture. It's like The Office, they're the same picture meme. The Kuleshov effect or something like that. Yeah, that's kind of what I think it is. I don't know how to spell it either. Kuleshov, the Kuleshov effect. Named after a Soviet filmmaker. Viewers derive more meaning from the interaction of two sequential shots than from a single shot in isolation. Yeah, exactly. That's the phenomenon. Is we actually interpret the next image we see based on the context provided by the previous image. And you can do a lot. That's a really interesting effect. Anyone interested in visual storytelling should study the Kuleshov effect. Sapphire, you feel like you missed out on Bernard? You joined after Bernard. Oh, you joined after Bernard. When did we make Bernard? That was in like September. Bernard will return someday. You joined 54 days ago. Oh, you got your stream streak, yeah? Appreciate you sticking with me here for some reason, for some unknown reason. All right, so this is going to be our weird... This is going to be our weird struct. So the z-index will tell it which canvas we wanna talk to. The y-sort will tell us within. Actually, do we care about the y-sort? I actually don't think we're gonna record the y-sort because I think if we do y-sorting, it's gonna be in the order in which we add these canvas item draw params. Yeah, this is fine. So z-index, which is which canvas item. Texture ID, which is going to be the lookup into whatever texture registry we have. At the moment, it's an int. It might become more complicated later. We have the canvas rect, which is like where on the canvas are we drawing this. We have the source rect, which is like where in the texture, what region of the texture are we drawing. The modulate, the transpose, and the clip UV. And that's what we got. I know if I do a read-only record struct, I'm supposed to do some additional things. Like I'm supposed to have an equality function and a hash code function. That should be fine. Only because the default is like not great. Should I allow for the I think I want that. And Bernard has been with you. and may Bernard be with you as well. And as such, so also as such, may it be unto you. What's everyone up to next? Sapphire watching Dave. Same. Trying to figure out what you want to do. Might be on hopping on Factorio a bit. May have had a bit of a eureka moment at work earlier on a possible... I love that you're at work and you're like, the back of your brain is like, this is such a hard Factorio problem we need to solve. No, that's kind of the nice thing about the human brain. Clip UV is equal to other.clip UV. Oi. I don't actually like what it just did here. I like this better. And then we also need a public override void. No, int. Right? Public override int get hash code. Say return hash code dot combine c index picture ID canvas rect source rect modulate transpose clip UV. All right. Okay, so this is our canvas item draw param struct. This should be sufficient for our purpose. My only question is, do we need to define... Should we define, like, a conversion? Is that what I'm doing at the tile level? Where's the tile? Here's the tile. Tile does not seem to define any... It does define a constructor for some reason. Oh, it defines a constructor that only takes... Oh, that takes a different form. I see. Hey, VoidBlit, how's it going? You procrastinate everything by playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and some Stellaris in between. I've heard good things about both of those games. All right, take it easy, Sneak. Thank you for hanging out today. Hope to see you again. Have a good weekend. Hopefully I was able to say bye before you dipped out. Again, would love to see your work sometime on the Discord. I feel like I mostly attract programmers here because that's mostly what we do, but I would love to see and talk to more pixel artists and you know, I need to strengthen my own you know, abilities in that area. All right, this is good. We're happy with this. So go back to our canvas item drawing system. If we look at the tile drawing system, what we do down here is we take all of those values. Would it be possible to do something else? So first question, can I represent every single one of these values with a short, at least? I think the answer is yes, because the maximum value of a short is like 60-something thousand. And we'll never need that many Z indexes. We'll never need that many texture IDs. The canvas rect is limited in size. Actually, what is the canvas rect limited to? It's going to be less than 65,000 because our viewport is 640 by 360 and our tiles are only 32 by 8. What is the dimension of that, actually? That's a good question. So 640 times 32, 20,480. And what's 360 times 8? There's something wrong with that because that's only 2,880. I guess I should think about the size of the overall block, not just the size of the tile. Okay, so the tile is 12 tall. So what's 12 times 360? That's still very small. Either way, we're under the size limit for a short, so that's fine. So yeah, the only question is, do I want to define like a conversion? I don't think so. I think we'll just do it ourselves. I think we'll do it a lot like this. Convert dot 2int16. Probably a better way to do that. Voidblade, you have thoughts about making something, but then you get ultra choice paralysis about every single aspect and nothing comes of it in the end. That sounds like life. Yeah, analysis paralysis is so real. A big journey for me. Hey, dang good games. Thanks for the lurk. I should really have a lurk response. Something about like the silent void of space or something like that. The quiet loneliness of space. Good to see you earlier. But yeah, this has affected, that analysis paralysis has affected me both in terms of like the games that I play and also like the work that I do in real life. Like it's a real thing. And in both, I feel like I've made a lot of progress in recent years in terms of like being okay with making suboptimal choices. I guess as you get older, you become a lot more aware about how limited your time is. And I think it kind of makes you a lot more okay with like suboptimal choices, about like picking your battles carefully. Next, you just force yourself into something you don't want to do. You procrastinate on it for a few years, and then maybe you feel like working on it. That's an approach. It depends on what you're optimizing for, right? That might be an adequate... Speaking of suboptimal choices, right? In space, nobody can hear you program. Yeah. Stellaris has many expansions. I gotta check it out. Stellaris ambient hum that's always in the background. You know the game that I loved so much? I kind of didn't get into its sequel, but I really want to try it. Are they making a third one? Is the game Distant Worlds? Why isn't Distant Worlds on here? There's Distant Worlds 2. Where's Distant Worlds 1? Is it called Distant Worlds Universe? Oh man, this game is 12 years old. But I loved this game. I'd probably go back and play it again. It's like a game about it's like Stellaris or whatever other like big large scale galactic empire management, but it's like 2D. It's really neat. It's like this kind of AI war look. And it's like there's a minister system. So like there's two things that make it really cool. One is you are the government of this empire, which means you don't control private industry. Like freighters go out and freight. Freighters gonna freight. Miners go out and try to mine. Like, so your job is to like create a safe environment for the economy of your empire, for one thing. And then the second thing, they have a minister system. Minister, which is like, if you don't want to manage a certain aspect of your economy, or not economy, a certain aspect of your government, like you don't have to. Like, let's say you don't want to do research. The AI could pick the research for you. Or like, let's say you don't want to have to redesign your ships every time a new research comes out. You can have the AI will do that for you. It'll redesign your ships and handle like fleet management. If you don't want to do fleet management, you can have that. So it's like you can opt in to whatever part of the game you want to play. It's very cool, and I really love this. I like this more than a lot of turn-based stellar empire management stuff. It's like very simple, but it's very fun. They made a sequel. I never tried the sequel. Oh my god, they blew up my planet. But yeah, apropos of nothing, I really enjoyed this. Enjoyed this game. I wish I had spent more time on it. I say spent more time on it. I bet if I look at my Steam, I've spent like hundreds of hours on it. Game is that? Distant Worlds. There's Distant Worlds too. Yeah. Describing this game is going to make you come out of your lark. Yeah. It's a good game. I don't know about the sequel. I think the sequel, they tried to go 3D. Nanigans, if you like those sorts of systems in theory, but if you're not required to do it yourself, you won't, and then you find it boring. Yeah. I'm becoming better about making those choices. Obviously, you and I are not great case studies for that, because we're the kinds of people that are like, time to go make a custom voxel importer or a custom map editor or whatever. Like, we refuse to use the tools given to us. And we're like, time to do it ourselves. All right, so we need to recreate this pack tile map data function, sort of, where we take all of this and we pass this data back to the system. We don't need to do it quite to this extent, though, because we're not going to be divvying out the data. Like, we're probably going to be calling in directly to the CanvasItem, and only because here we were sending all the tile data back, and then it was having to get sliced up. And I think that's what's expensive of that part, is like you send this huge packed byte array over, and then the individual tile map layers were slicing out the parts of the packed byte array that it cared about, and we probably paid for that. It's $3. Nice. For $3, I'd say it's worth a try. If you're one of those like people that is just always playing some kind of like space 4X game. If you hear the word space 4X and you're like, I'm in, you might like Distant Worlds. I think it's a lot of fun. It's kind of hard sometimes. Like, you have to think about it. Like, you're like, okay, how many space yards, how many like shipyards do I have? Okay, the shipyards are busy building new economic ships for the private industry. Okay, so if I redesign my frigates, how many of my frigates could I afford to retrofit without clogging up the entire shipyard queue for the next like 4 months of in-game time? So it's like, it's actually kind of hard and kind of realistic managing the bureaucracy, especially a bureaucracy that you're not in total control over. Because like I said, private industry is not the purview of the government in this game, or hopefully anywhere. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know about the hopefully anywhere part. I'm not a free market radical. You're gonna head out? All right, take it easy, Sapphire. Voidblit, you started watching Star Trek after playing Stellaris, and you were like, what the fuck, have this game as Star Trek references? That I could see. That I could see. Yeah, I'm still on my rewatch of Star Trek TNG. I'm watching all I've got the remastered Blu-rays, and it looks so good. And that show is so good. And it's really great watching it linearly. I'm not learning, but I'm seeing a lot of continuity that you don't get when you watch the show in syndication. I'm also enjoying getting to see Tasha Yar for the brief span of time that I get to see her. Spoilers. I feel like that's okay, because the Tasha Yar spoiler is older than me. All right, so we're pretending to get things done today. We're mostly just yapping, which is why it's important, if you're streaming game dev, to also have offline game dev time. If you think you're going to make a whole game on stream, think again. All right, so we have to set the CanvasItem params. That also involves, here there's a whole bunch of auto tiling going on to decide which Atlas coords we want. That's another thing. We need to convert from Atlas coords. Oh, no, we don't. So we need to switch from Atlas coords to like Atlas region, because we have to describe the region of the texture we want to draw. He's trying to work. Distract him. There are literally crystalline entities in Stellaris, and they didn't even change the name. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, this game is also going to be mostly Star Trek references. And when it's not a Star Trek reference, it's going to be like a Firefly reference. Like the main game that we're making, like the big FTL-like, is definitely like mostly Star Trek. Maybe some BSG, some like Battlestar Galactica, maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But Lo-Fi Flyby is going to be like just Firefly references. That's going to be a different beast. Because it's trying to capture a very different scale and vibe. It's supposed to capture the vibe of like the lone cargo ship flying. Maybe it'll capture, maybe, you know what might be in there a little bit of Cowboy Bebop. Sprinkle a little Cowboy Bebop over it. Not too much, just the right amount. You achieved the goal, Void, but you distracted me. It's really easy to distract me. Someone just say the word like Babylon 5 and I'm distracted. All right, so we have all our auto tiler functions. Let's start looking at what needs to change and what's the same. So our old function was called set tile map layer data. We'd pass in our block buffer stuff. We'd pass in the node we needed to target. So we aren't going to do that now. So here's an interesting thing. Here's an interesting question. If we're... We're running into an awkward issue here, and I think there's a way through it, but I think I need to do some thoughts. Also, sorry for the flashbang every time I bring this up. Babylon 5, thanks, Nix. You're gonna need to license the song Space Trucking for Lo-Fi Flyby. Maybe. Voidblade, you keep getting suggestions on Twitch to watch a streamer who basically only plays Distant Worlds 2. It's a sign. It's a sign that I should try it. I kind of wrote it off. But I'm such a big fan of Distant Worlds 1, I should try 2. Nanigans, somebody should do a Twitch programs a game, similar to how they do Twitch Plays Pro Pokemon. Just a 24/7 live stream programming by committee till it's done, complete and compiles. Someone could try that. That sounds like a... I think that's maybe not... I think that's like a... I don't know if that's a process that would ever terminate successfully. Yeah, that would be funny. All right, so here's our problem. So our blocks are stored in this kind of 3D space here, right? So that we can do a lot of operations in world space. But now we want to slice them up in like quote unquote C levels in like camera space, camera Z. And so that means doing this layer by layer. And so when we pass our list of, I say list, when we pass our array of like CanvasItem draw params, and each set of params is basically a draw call. We want to pass that list in, quote unquote, sorted. Like we want to pass that list in such that everything gets drawn in the correct order. Which means that if we have Y sorting stuff going on, we need to be able to put that in there. Which makes me think the process of building Canvas draw params is actually going to be an unordered process, and then there will be a sort at the end. I think that's the only way we're going to be able to combine environmental and character sprites drawn correctly across all layers. But we don't need to worry about that right now. All I really need to worry about right now is how we're going to do this traversal. I actually didn't come up with a traversal pattern that works here. I mean, we could just iterate through like 200 times. Or what we could do is keep separate lists for the different Z indexes and add to those. I guess that's fine because part of what we want to do is like an occlusion culling pass, which means we probably do want to write to like lists because we actually want to, like in this example, most of these blocks are not going to be drawn because most of them are not going to be seen. I should do a version of this where I like color in the blocks that get drawn. We're also not just working on a block basis, we're also working on a per face basis. That's something else I need to think about. Because we process per block. Oh no, we actually have a list of tiles. I forgot, we actually do have a list of tiles. We are doing that. We can probably expand that. Right now all we're recording is the hull type. VoidBlit, a blurb from a review on Distant Worlds 2 Steam page. Stellaris represents a high point in Space 4X design, but its throne is by no means secure. Distant Worlds 2 is a very credible contender, and we can't wait to see more. Perfect. Yeah, it sounds like I nerd sniped you with the Distant Worlds. It sounds like you had plenty on your plate with Stellaris, but I just wanted to be like, but have you tried this dish? You have to try the Distant Worlds as well. Alright, my copy's dead. My coffee's dead. You have infinite time? It's fine? Great. What is our time but a blit in the void?
Most illogical.
I like VoidBlit. I think it's a great name. What it conjures in my mind is vacuum energy. Like, the tendency for, like, particles to spontaneously appear and disappear in vacuums. I don't understand how that stuff works, but that's what I think. That's what I think of when I think of your name. It's a great name. 2 4-letter words. That's like, single syllable 4-letter words. That's like what dreams are made of. Kind of coherent name. Nanigans. Music feels like either you should be dressed up and sitting with a more proper posture, or you expect Charlie Brown to be accompanying you. We could play some Charlie Brown music. I find it to be a little too agitating. There are some jazz artists I like, but the jazz on this radio is something else. You got blit from a function name in SDL. Oh yeah, I know what a blit is. It's when you can like copy data over without having to marshal it. It's like it's done in drawing a lot, right? There's probably a couple of contexts for that, but it's a great name. Emptiness is an inherently unstable state or something like that. That's a good way to summarize it too, Arneo. All right, we're heading back into ads. Hold on to your ads, Twitch. I'm going to qualify for ads eventually on YouTube. I'm not sure I'm going to run them. because I've been ever since I've become a YouTube partner, Twitch is or YouTube is telling me like which of my videos are monetizable and which ones aren't. And I don't expect to be able to monetize my live streams on YouTube. But the music I play is definitely very often not monetizable. And that's kind of influencing my thought process on it. But I like our radio, so I'm probably not going to do anything about it. Lucky YouTubers. Hey, it worked. Yeah, here comes the hydrate. All right. So in our old tile drawing process, the way we do this, so first up, we get all our hull types, which has a dual purpose. One, it gives us a dictionary it fills a dictionary with all of the tiles that exist and what their hull types are. Eventually, I don't want to do it this way, but during edit mode, this is the correct way to do this. Eventually, we'll want to save the hull types and have those be absolutely stored, which means I should start thinking of a way that I want to store tiles. I'm thinking it's possible to store tiles unordered because of I'm ultimately going to need to Y sort, like literally I'm going to need to sort tile drawing within individual Z indexes, which makes me think that I can process tiles in an unordered set, which is interesting, which is an interesting possibility. Speaking of names, yeah, NixOS, you might need a different name. I think that one's taken. Speaking of different OSs, I'm going to have my little backup home server Linux box. I'm going to start working on that soon. I'm going to be moving it over to my side of the room. I got a brand new computer that's going in its place for actual, work. And I'm going to have this server box thing. I don't know what to do with it, but we're going to try to do a bunch of stuff with it. I'm not going to do any Linux streams, but I'll probably talk about the journey a lot of like understanding Linux and setting up my first quote unquote home lab to start experimenting with quote unquote onshoring a lot of my stuff. There's stuff I would like to start bringing in-house. Our water is controlled by AI now, Arneo. I mean, it will be if it isn't already. It takes a lot of water to run those data centers. All right, so what we do here, we count the number of tiles, which is fine. We make a tiles dictionary. We go through each hull key. So we're filtering down from all of the tiles that we have to the tiles that we will need. So we could actually do this in multiple passes. Well, no, I don't actually want to do it that way. Ignore me. Well, maybe we do. I don't know. I'm tempted to do an initial pass where we remove all the cutaway blocks, then figure out all the tiles we need. But we're not going to worry about that yet. So we go through all the hull keys. So we go through every hull key in hulls.keys. We do some initial filtering. Then we create a tile. So this is where we'll create our CanvasItem params instead. However, we also need to figure out some information. which is these. So given whatever face we have, like face X, face Y, face Z, we use a different process. So when that function, do another set of initial filtering. Here's where, so this is where we would set our tiled data. We set our source ID. We set our atlas coords. So this needs to change a little bit. Right now we just get our atlas coords, which is a whole mess. We actually need to change this to be like get source rect or something like that, or like get texture region. I might give up and implement a rect struct. But I'd be tempted to do the same thing. You know what? I'd probably implement a rect I struct, like our AABB. Or maybe I'd implement the rect as an integral thing, and then I could just convert it. Maybe I'll do that. But yeah, this is where we do things like determine our outlining edges. We will skip this part for now, I think, just to start getting stuff drawn to the screen. I think we can safely skip the auto tiler part. We'll just draw the default tile instead of auto tiling. Only if by AI you mean actual individual. That's funny. Thank you. Thanks, Nix. Yeah. Someone's got to water the streamer, you know? Or they're going to wilt. All right, so we get our coordinates, our atlas coordinates. And then we have this conversion from the atlas coordinates. Well, I say get atlas coords. That's not really what's happening here. It's actually more like get auto tile coords. And then they're converted into atlas coordinates given our buffer, given our texture atlas format. Because the auto tiler coordinates are different than the texture atlas coordinates. Which we're going to continue to do because that's good for the packing of the texture atlas. Because our auto tiler coordinates are 4-dimensional, which is how we're able to do X edge, Y edge, not X edge, Y edge. We're able to do edges and corners. If it wasn't 4-dimensional, I would have a much harder time doing corners in a way that was densely packed, because not every combination is going to happen. So we have a conversion process from the way the auto tiler thinks about tiles to the way the tiles are actually stored in the atlas. So this conversion process needs to happen. Still, we're not turning them into atlas coords. Instead, we're going to be turning them into a region of the texture that we'll be drawing. But that's not that different. And then we pop back out. So we pop back up after we do these get block face tile things. This is neat. There's an aspect to this that I didn't think about, but it's possible. We could totally have characters that consist of like multiple textures. You could do something that's like got like compound separate things. Like if you have I can't think of a good example, but one example would be like the crazy character from like Star Trek the Animated Series whose body is able to like separate into multiple sections and float around independently. I don't know if that's practically going to be useful, but It's something we could do with this system. We want to be careful. We want to be careful about not doing anything that needs to be redrawn all the time. And that's something that I'm a little concerned about. I'm a little concerned about totally redrawing a canvas item because you have a character moving around in it, which is part of the reason why I'm tempted to do this like compartment based. Very tempted. Or something. Some combination. Maybe it's Z level and compartment based. I don't know. This is something we're not gonna try to prejudge. We're gonna try some stuff out, we'll test the performance, and we'll decide what's better. That's what we'll do. All right. Now let's get some stuff done. Do I care about these counts? I don't know if I care about these. All right, let's start. Let's just keep working our way down the list here. So we're getting our hull types. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be kind of iterating through all of... So there's two ways we could do this. Because, watch out for the flashbang. Thanks for the hydrate, Nix. I think we reached 700 subscribers on YouTube today. We were at 699 before we went live, and I don't want to call it, but we were at 699. I think we might be at 700 now. And so I just want to, again, thank everyone over on YouTube for choosing to spend part of their day here with us. It means a lot. Hey, Lucas. Lucas G. Molina is in the house. Cool cup. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's home. It's not made by me, but it is homemade. It has a diagonal like dip. It was a friend of mine's signature. I don't know what you call this process, but it was their signature glaze was the diagonal dip. It's got this kind of sort of metallic sheen to it. I have a few of these. There, you know what? There is a lot in my neighborhood, which tells you that I live in a bougie neighborhood. There are a lot of members only ceramic studios now. There's at least 4 or 5 within like a few miles of my place. I've never been into that. But I could see getting into it, honestly, if I was the kind of person who had time. But how are you doing, Lucas? It's been a minute. I feel like it's been a minute. 700 subscribers and 369 videos. Thanks, Nanigans. I appreciate that. We did it. I don't know what we did, but we did something. I have a super grainy screenshot. Because on the day that I hit my like peak, my like highest ever like YouTube viewer count, which was like 160 concurrent or something like that, which is insane. It also happened to be the moment that I reached 666 subscribers, and I have like the grainiest little screenshot of it, and I'm like, man, I wish I had this in like higher resolution. You're surprised I even remember you? No, I totally remember You're doing good? That's good. I'm not some big unapproachable YouTuber, you know? I'm just Dave from the block. The tile block. All right. So, how are we going to do this iteration? How are we going to do this? So, I am tempted to just go through the whole 3D block space once and then write things out to their z-index, like add them to the z-index list. And then sort those lists. If they change. Well, I don't know about that if they change part. I'm still not quite sure how I'm going to figure out whether a canvas item needs to be redrawn or not. I haven't totally figured that out. So we could go through multiple times. Like we could iterate through and go, we could do, you know, 190 iterations through the block space in order. And like be looking for a specific z-index. Or we could just pop it on to whichever list. Yeah, because it's got to be a list, because I don't know that all of the block spaces are going to be densely populated. So yeah, I'm tempted to just iterate through the whole block space once and then just add stuff to some lists. And I mean, we can maintain the lists. We might even like double buffer them. If we double buffer them, then we can do some kind of hashing. Maybe what we do is we do like, when we're done building the lists, we like do some kind of hashing function so we can figure out later if when we rebuild the list, it's identical. Because I feel like building list is not going to be the expensive part. The expensive part is going to be actually doing the canvas item redraw. So we will need some kind of process for that. I don't know what it's going to be. Edit the web page. Arneo, you may have just bought Distant Worlds 2. You mean the first one, not 2? Yeah, try the first one. I really like the first one. I'm not sold on the second one yet. Don't be fooled by the VODs that I got. Yeah. Somehow people are surprised. They're impressed by the number of VODs we have. And it's like, I just go live. I just go live every day. And by every day, I mean 4 or 5 times a week. You just got to put in the reps, you know? Then you get to see those gains. I'm sorry. I'm like the least bodybuilder core person you could be talking to. All right. So this is, I think I've decided this is how we're going to do it. So we're going to have some kind of, we'll have an array of lists because we know how many Z indexes we have. So we'll make an array of lists. Maybe that'll be the tiles array or something. Or maybe draws, or we'll call it draws. It's a list of canvas item draw params. It's actually an array of lists. Actually don't know how to make an array of lists, maybe. That's how you do it. Draws, and then this is going to be game.board.size.x. This is really stupid. What I should do is I can just define a Random Journey, show us those abs. I'm happy to show you my absolute functions. For example, the Manhattan distance is calculated by using the absolute value of the distance of the components. Hey, Push Toy, how's it going? mathf.ebs. Yeah, there you go, Jacob. How's it going, Push Toy? All right, so I think I just do this and I say, so we're going to just say game.board.size.x plus game.board.size.y plus game.board.size.z. Actually, I'm going to do is it's y minus 1. I know I don't have to do it this way, but I'm going to do it this way because it helps me conceptually keep track of what we're doing. Is this not an acceptable way to declare? Is this hard to do? Is it going to just be a list of lists instead of an array of lists? Trying to declare the number of indexes in the array. I thought this is how you did it. Maybe I'm wrong. I should be able to specify... Oh, I need to say new. I can't do the collection type thing, I think. I think I need to say new list. Canvas item draw params. There we go. So this way, all the individual lists can be managed. And they'll be consistent so I can clear them, but we'll be able to, well, they'll be able to know what their capacity is and we won't be constantly reallocating them. I'll just need to go through and clear them all. Maybe we can be even more surgical about this eventually too. We'll start this. If your board size is always the same, you can define it as a constant somewhere. Yeah, true. True. The problem is it's a constant, but it's defined by like a configuration value somewhere else. So in a case like this, it's the number of steps along X from 0 to the max, and then the number of steps along the Y, and then the number of steps along the Z, which is why it's X plus Y minus 1 plus Z minus 1. We're just going to call it draws. And this data only ever needs to be in the CanvasItem drawing system, so we're going to do something janky like this and just keep it here. And so what we will need to do, though... Yeah, so right now we're going to do the worst case performance scenario, which is we're going to redraw the whole thing every time. So I'm just going to add that here. I'm going to just say draws. We'll say for each variable list in draws. Fine. say list dot clear. Will that work? What will that do if I haven't declared? Is this, I've had this problem before where it's like, if I declare an array of lists, do I need to then iterate through and declare the list? Like in ready, do I need to do something like for int z equals 0, z is less than draws dot length z plus plus draws z equals new list, or you know, this. Do I have to do this? Will it get upset with me if I don't do this? It probably will, right? So we'll just do that. Probably get rid of the brackets. We'll just make the lists. We'll make the lists. So we're ready. And then when we do the run, I can just clear them all. Yeah. You're right, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. All right, so we're accumulating draw calls. You're doing okay? You're not sure how you feel about streaming? It's kind of stressing. Oh yeah, right, because you only just came back to streaming after a long time. You feel about stream? It's kind of stressing. I say, yeah, don't push it. Don't push it. Because I mean, people will say to be successful, you have to stream a certain frequency for a certain length of hours, but it's like, my analogy is always with the gym, where it's like, yeah, maybe you don't want to go to the gym, right? Maybe you're like, it's time to go to the gym. It's the day or the time that I go to the gym, and like, you don't feel like doing it. And it's like, you have to look inward and try to understand why you don't feel like going to the gym. Because it might just be a hump that you have to get over. Because I have that almost every single day. And 30 minutes into the stream, I'm like totally in it, regardless of how I felt before. But there's a time when you shouldn't go to the gym, which is correct, which is if you've injured yourself, right? Or you've pushed yourself too far, or you're sick or something. So it's like, it's not enough just to be like, this is hard, I don't want to do it, therefore I'm not going to do it. And you also can't just be like, I'm going to do it anyway. Because like, streaming is a muscle, and like, you can over exercise that muscle. And you can like you can ramp up correctly, or you can like overdo it and injure yourself. So it's like, yeah, I would just say be very carefully listen to what your mind and your body are telling you. Because it's fine. I will cancel a stream if it seems like, if I need to. I try not to worry about like the algorithm and the consistency, and people have generally been very supportive of me doing that. I say generally. Feels exhausting to do it. Yeah, it's the muscle. It's like, if you just start running again and you haven't been running for like a long time, but you used to be a runner, so you know what you should, that makes it hard. If you were just running for the first time and you never did it before, you have no expectations, so it's easier to probably say, I'm exhausted, I'm not going to run today. Like, but if you used to be like a track and field star, and then you know, 10 years later, you decided to start running again, you'll have these totally messed up expectations. And it's like, yeah, it's a muscle and it can be overstrained. So yeah, take care of yourself. Self-care first, streaming second, for sure. Rihanna Journey. Love your streams. Taking days off is a step too far. Yeah, exactly. It's a good analogy. Yeah, I think it's all right. But yeah, I think it's important to make space, to grow, right? And not overdo it. But yeah. But it's tough because at first glance, sometimes it's hard to tell, do I just not want to stream, or is it like, or am I like actually, is there a reason why I shouldn't do it today? It can be hard. It can be hard to tell the difference. In the same way that it can be hard to tell the difference when you go to the gym. You can be like, am I just being weak, or like, do I actually have like, am I in danger of injuring myself by pushing myself too hard, too fast? But yeah, I think you get it. It can help too, though, because streams grow, right? Like, you know. They grow, the stream grows with the streamer, right? So it's not like you have to like come out of the gates hot. You can build up to it. Take your time. All right, so what we're gonna do next, we've got our list of draws. We've got our array of list of draws. So the thing I'm thinking about is we will call it something like, call it like add canvas item draws or something like that. And then what do I need? So the block haul types thing needs the tags. The add canvas item draws needs also the block tags. Buffer 3D read only. Block tags buffer component. I'm gonna say equals new. I don't know if we need to keep the component around. I don't think at the moment we do, so I'm just gonna not. You have difficulty dealing with people being assholes, though? Oh. No, I get that. Ban them. I mean, time them out, warn them, then time them out, then ban them. Or just ban them. It's your space. And more importantly, it's your community, and no one is gonna set the tone of your community except you. You will do it. You set the tone of your community. And if someone comes in to your space with a tone that you don't want, I mean, yeah, maybe try to listen to understand where they're coming from. They're probably just being chat. They're probably just coming in with a hot take to try to get a reaction. And sometimes you can, you know, get to somebody and they'll change and they'll become a good member of the community. So you shouldn't always just immediately reach for a ban or even a timeout. But it's like, if you don't feel like you have they don't have a right to come into your space and be an asshole. Nobody does. Arneo, streaming is overrated. Not everyone needs to be a public online persona. With the greatest respect. Yeah, no. I agree with you. I think if you're trying to sell a game, you do need to build your audience at the same time you're building your game. Or you'll have a game and all of a sudden there will be no one there to play it. But that doesn't have to be streaming. That can be GIFs of your game on like YouTube Shorts or like Instagram Reels or TikToks or something. Like you don't have to expose yourself personally to the internet. That's not a requirement. I think there is some level of social media engagement that every creative needs to engage with nowadays, unless you just want to YOLO it out there and like hope that your trailer goes viral or something like that. But yeah, you don't need to expose yourself to that if you don't want to. Although to be a creator, being a creator and putting something out into the world is already a super vulnerable thing to do. And that's hard because you're going to get feedback on it, right? Whether that's a Steam review, like a crazy unhinged Steam review, or a YouTube comment or something. And there is a price. There is like a psychic damage price to pay. Even when most of the feedback's good, right? They say one bad piece of feedback is worth 10 good pieces of feedback or positive pieces of feedback, which is that your brain weights your feedback. So if 10 people tell me I'm doing a good job, that gets wiped out by one person telling me I'm a piece of shit. And it sucks. That's hard. That's hard to handle emotionally, right? Nix, you can't believe it. You fixed a huge problem in your mod that you were struggling with yesterday. Switching off from the task for a bit and coming back to it is a cheat. It is a cheat. That reset is good. That reset works. Hey, No Jewel, how's it going? Maximum warp. I thought I heard someone maximum warp. Psychic damage. Yeah, it's... Jacob, let's ban everyone that uses ... Yeah, I wonder which game engine that is. There's really no way to know. But yeah, you don't have to put up with people's shit, push toy. It gets to you being visible and being attacked. Yeah, it does. It does get to you. Nanigans, the proof about bad feedback is in my own streams. You give me bad feedback almost every day. Now we're on episode 307, and I'm continuing to work on the editor. Yeah, I am continuing to work on the editor. 512, right next, episode 512. That's when we're allowed to finish the editor and move on. We're on schedule. We're on schedule. I bet by this time next year, we'll be done with the map editor. God help me. You're waiting for a medium warp, No Jewel? When you're going into straight lurking? That's funny. I'm going to add some more audio. I'm going to add some more Star Trek audio. I'm still not sold on the Doctor Strangelove hydrate audio clip that I really want to put in. I'm not sure if it's a little too charged or on the nose, or people wouldn't get it, but I do it anyway because I feel like I miss all these hydrates, and it would help if I had an audio cue. Arneo, in education, the ratio is 8-1. Oh, that's interesting. There's probably some data to back that up. So you say for a positive pedagogy approach, you should always give 8 praises for every 1 critique. That's interesting, because there's also that whole you need to tell someone like 7 times for them to like internalize it or whatever. It's a lot of repetition. All right, I'm having a good time. I'm not getting anything done, but I'm having a good time. But yeah, notwithstanding the stuff I said about, you know, the streamer owning the community. Owning is the wrong word, but like leading is the right word. So like, I do still want you all to feel like this is your community too. So if I step out of line, you need to be comfortable telling me that. But yeah. If someone comes into your space, tells you something you don't want to hear, I mean, if it's well-intentioned, I think it is important to like kind of try to absorb it and understand it and where it's coming from. But if it's clearly not well-intentioned, that's why rule number 1 for this channel and community is be excellent to each other. Like, I'll tolerate a lot if it's excellent, if it's well-intentioned, and it's obviously well-intentioned and constructive. But I think that's the bar. And I know it's hard. Even me, when I have the anonymous shield of just being a guy in the chat, it's really easy for your brain to be like, time to say something crazy. And it's hard to filter that out sometimes. So I recognize that. Or you make a joke in chat, but like no one sees it for like a minute. So like by the time they get to it, the context is lost, and they're like, "What's this person talking about?" It's tough. It's tough to make yourself understood on the internet in a way that is, beneficial to everyone. All right, do I still need this mask? I feel like I do need this mask for what we're about to do here. I don't totally understand what we're going to use it for, but I do think we need it. And again, there is a question about how we want to... I think for now, our overlays are going to just get drawn over. They're just going to get drawn over everything else. You know, maybe we're not going to worry about overlays for a second. I'm not quite sure how I want to handle those, so we're not going to think about those. Oh, my blorb. Dang good games. Raid alert. Hide the code. How's it going, dang good? Don't show nobody what you're doing. Yeah, no, hide the code. That's the first thing we do. How's it going? Were you lurking in here earlier while you were still on stream? I appreciate that. How's it going? How was the rest of your stream? I know you were refactoring. You were refactoring up a storm. And then you were hunting around for fonts. Welcome, Raiders. How's it going? We are a Digital Iliad. We are working on an isometric FTL-like. Right now we're working on an alternative rendering process that we're going to try out for rendering our spaces. Stream ended good. Store is plumbed and working. Excited to add content items to it now. Nice, nice. That's exciting to see. New renderings. It's a new rendering approach. So our current rendering approach is tile map layer based, which is not performant enough. Oh, I have left a bug in here somewhere. Hold on, let me fix the compiler error. What's going on here? Where? Show me the error. Oh, I see it. Show me what I got. But yeah, our current solution to rendering the space is tilemap layer powered, which is just not performant enough. We did some multi-threading, which fixed the performance issue, but we couldn't get it to be consistent. So we're trying an alternative. But yeah, this is all tilemap layer powered. And we're going to try to do some CanvasItem drawing, custom CanvasItem draw calls to build this up a different way. That's what we're going to try next. What is going on here? There's something weird happening here. These blocks don't count. Why do these blocks not count? Okay, now they count. That was weird. I like canceled out of the build, but they stuck around. That's not good. I gotta think about that. Yeah, we're working on a new model, a new way of drawing this stuff out. You could watch Room be made all day. That's good because Room be making is all we've been doing is making generic gray boxed rooms. We're very much in our gray boxing era. On the good side, we're rid of the constant blinking. Yeah, thanks for the suggestion for the epilepsy warning. Someone liked that comment on YouTube, so it seems to have provided value. We did try a crazy double buffering multi-threaded method, just created like a horrible strobe light effect. It's a solid era to be in. Yeah, we'll see. So we're gonna try a new approach. Where instead of having tile map layers stacked like this, like in the Z level in the game, which Z is up for us. Because it's 2D, so X and Y are like out and then Z is up. And we're trying a Z layering that's based on the camera Z. So we're gonna try to render 2 canvas items in this kind of a pattern. We're gonna try that. We're trying that next. So I'm still working through how I'm gonna do that, but that's what we're working on. I think it's going to be a lot more performant, which is what we need. It needs to be crazy performant. It needs to be like barely break a sweat doing what it's going to do. So there's a lot of opportunities for optimization for this approach, but we're just trying to get it working now. Can't wait for the large refactor on episode 2048. Oh man, we better be released. We better have something released by episode 2048. I don't think you understand how far episode 2048 is. We do about 100 episodes every 6 months. We would do 10 episodes about every 2 weeks. Extra non-cube shapes or separate DLC. I mean, that's part of the problem, but I'm hoping that'll be addressed by this as well. That's a problem for our occluder. We will have non-cube designs for sure. All right, so when we add a canvas item draw, I'm kind of converting my tile map layer draw stuff process to the canvas item draw stuff, so we're kind of going through bit by bit. I do need these formats. I need to know about these. I definitely need to know about these. The question is, do I need to know about them here? I think the answer is yes. Texture Atlas format. Default Texture Atlas format. Where is this stored? Oh, it's stored to you. I guess that's fine right now. We're almost to 512. Yeah, we'll be at 512 in about a year. Give or take. Goal is to have episode 2048 by the year 2048. I mean, in all seriousness, episode 2048 would probably be, you know. Yeah, actually, that's a good question. That's a good question. I can't think past episode 1024. If we reach quadruple digits on this stream, that'd be both good and bad. I don't doubt that we'll do that. Because it's really not that far away. All right, so how we're gonna do this when we get to our ad? What's this? Set canvas item params. Wait, why do I have two functions for this? Add canvas item draws. Oh, that will call set canvas item params, and it will return. No, should it be get? Yeah, maybe it can be get. And it will return a canvas item params. No, let's not worry about that yet. Oh no, that was the correct spot for it. We'll just return default. Very funky new music. Yeah, this is a good funky song. Anyway, oh, I forgot to give Dang Good the shout out. Dang. Dang Good Games is doing some good dang good stuff. Enjoy the lurk if you're still here. Nix, who knew you'd finish your mod before I released my whole game? Yeah, well, I'd hope so. All right, so we want our formats. I still don't love the way I'm storing this, but I don't see a better way to do it right now. So what we're going to do, we will iterate through tile. W component of the tile lets us know. Yeah, we're going to do some kind of sorting. We're going to need to sort it by its... So I do need some kind of value here for... There's going to need to be some kind of sorting value. I don't have that here. It's also unfortunate. I don't really have room for this stuff. I might get rid of transpose and clip UV. When would we not want to clip UV? When would we not want to do that? Oh. It'd be restricting the coordinates of a texture to the bounds of an image. That's really not something I care about. If I'm indexing outside the bounds of the image, I have caused some problems. I have caused some mistakes. So yeah, I'm gonna not, because these are optional. I mean, technically modulate is too, but I could see us doing a lot of stuff with modulate. I'm just gonna not store either of those things for now, just to save some space. What we do need though is we need like a sorting. So this is gonna be a float, and we're gonna call it Y sorting. It's not Y sorting in the regular sense of the term, but do I also care about anything else here? I'm gonna put this first. Well, maybe not. I'm gonna get rid of these. Boy. Why is this being a booty about this? Oh, I don't really want to do that, I guess, do I? Maybe we don't compare the Y-Sor. Well, maybe we do. Should be a double. I don't really want to compare those. Just take that out. For now. That's going to come back to bite me later. Better sleep. Study that game on the morrow. Nice. Distant Worlds is complicated. Yes, but you control how much of it you want to engage with at any time. But yeah, it's fun. That's a game that you kind of just watch for a while. You kind of watch to see what's happening. And then as you get more opinions about what should be happening, that's when you like intervene. Kind of nice. It's like not a cozy game because it's too complicated, but I'm beginning to be more of a person that wants to play games that have a high amount of simulation elements, or there's a lot of stuff happening and I don't need to deal with it all at the same time. I like to be able to kind of sit back and like engage as I want. And that's been leading me to play more cozy games. It's been leading me to be interested in simulation games where you're like not obliged to like always be on top of everything all the time. Like when you get to control, like you get to choose when to intervene. I like that. I like that. Oh, that said, it's about time to wrap it up for today. I'm sorry we didn't accomplish anything. I'm going to try to work out some of this stuff in my head. There was a specific thing that I wanted to work out off stream. I think I need to formalize how the Y sorting is going to work a little more in my head because I don't quite understand how I'm going to do that part. I also maybe need to think a little bit more about how I want to register the textures. But I think this is going to be good. I think this is going to be the right approach. I'm very pleased with the direction we're headed, which is cool because we still got Friday and Saturday. I think we'll be able to draw something by the end of Saturday. You heard it here. You heard it here first. Unless I don't achieve that goal, in which case you didn't hear anything. Who needs a game when you can toggle A-sprite layers like that all day? I love doing that. That's fun to me. Thank you all for hanging out. Arneo, Rhiannon Journey, J-Cup, Push Toy, Nanigans, everyone, Nix, dang good. Thanks again for the raid. Void Blit. I'm just scrolling up and looking for names. Lucas, it was good to see you. I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody. Sapphire. It's always good to see everyone. Magoo, for the moment that Magoo got to be here with us. We will be back tomorrow for our favorite day of the week, Friday. Actually, Saturday is my favorite day, but it's only uphill from here. Oh, no, Jewel, there you are. Yeah, thanks, No Jewel. Thanks for hanging out. I still need to mess around with that tool you released. All right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't need to make a big goodbye. We'll be here tomorrow. We'll be back doing the same thing. Thanks again to all our lurkers over on YouTube. Don't think you'll catch me until Monday. Take it easy, Nanigans. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.